The summer night was warm and quiet in the small town of Oakfield, Nebraska. Stars twinkled overhead as 10-year-old Lucas Miller lay on the grass in his backyard. His parents had already gone to bed, but they didn't mind him stargazing for a while. Lucas loved space more than anything. He had maps of constellations on his bedroom walls and could name every planet in the solar system, along with their moons. "One day, I'll go up there," he whispered to himself as he traced the outline of the Big Dipper with his finger. A strange light caught his attention, brighter than any star. It moved in a way that no airplane would. Lucas sat up, his heart beating faster. The light grew larger, descending toward him. He should have been afraid. He should have run inside to wake his parents. But curiosity kept him rooted to the spot as the light became a shimmering oval hovering silently above the trees. A beam shot down from the oval, bathing Lucas in pale blue light. He felt his body become weightless. The last thing he saw was his house growing smaller beneath him before everything went black. Jack Miller woke up the next morning and made coffee as usual. Lucas must be sleeping in, he told his wife Susan as she joined him in the kitchen. But when they checked his room, the bed was empty and hadn't been slept in. "Maybe he's outside already," Susan suggested, but the worry in her voice was clear. They searched the yard, the neighborhood, then called the police. By afternoon, the whole town was looking for Lucas. Dogs sniffed his clothes and followed trails that ended nowhere. Helicopters scanned the nearby woods and fields. Sheriff Dan Kelly stood in the Millers' living room, hat in hand. "We found nothing, not a single trace. It's like he just vanished." Jack put his arm around Susan's shoulders as she sobbed. "Our boy wouldn't just run away. Something happened to him." Days turned into weeks. Lucas's photo appeared on milk cartons and posters. The FBI came and went. The case went cold. Miles above Earth, Lucas woke up in a small chamber with curved walls that glowed with soft light. His head hurt and his mouth was dry. The floor hummed beneath him, a steady vibration that told him he was moving fast. A panel slid open, and Lucas gasped. The creature that entered wasn't human. It stood on two legs but was much taller and thinner. Its skin was pale blue with faint patterns like circuits running across it. It had 4 arms and a face with large black eyes that had no pupils. The alien examined Lucas without speaking. It held a device that made soft beeping sounds as it moved around his body. Lucas was too shocked to be afraid yet. "Where am I?" he finally managed to ask. The alien made clicking sounds. A smaller device on its wrist glowed, and then a flat voice said in English, "Specimen acquired. Baseline functions normal." "I'm not a specimen," Lucas said. "I'm a person. My name is Lucas Miller." The alien seemed surprised that Lucas spoke. It clicked again, and the translator said, "Unexpected cognition level. Tagging for advanced study." More aliens entered. They wore different outfits than the first one. Lucas noticed symbols on their clothing that might be ranks or jobs. They were careful not to hurt him as they took samples of his hair and blood. One placed a clear device against his temple that made his head tingle. "Subject displays neural complexity beyond expected parameters," the translator said. "Forwarding to central research." Lucas tried to stay calm. His Aunt Olivia had always told him that if he was ever in trouble, he should observe everything and remember details. Aunt Olivia was in the military, though Lucas didn't know exactly what she did. She was smart and brave, and thinking about her helped him be brave too. The aliens didn't know that Lucas's mind was special. He could remember everything he saw or heard perfectly. While they studied him, he studied them. He noticed how their technology worked, how they communicated, how the ship was laid out as they moved him to a larger room with other strange creatures in containers. Back on Earth, a secure phone rang in an underground facility. Admiral Olivia Mason was reviewing satellite data when her aide brought her the phone. "What do you mean, he's gone?" Olivia's voice was steady, but her knuckles went white as she gripped the receiver. "My nephew is missing. She hung up and immediately called a meeting of her special operations team. Few people on Earth knew that humanity had a secret space defense program. Even fewer knew that Admiral Mason commanded it. "We have a situation," she told her team, "and it might be connected to the anomalies we've been tracking." 6 months had passed since Lucas disappeared. The Millers' home became quiet and sad. Jack spent his evenings looking through old photos. Susan joined search groups for missing children, hoping to find answers for other families if not for her own. Admiral Olivia Mason had not given up. In her underground command center, she studied data from space monitors spread throughout the solar system. These monitors were part of Earth's secret defense network, known only to a select few high-ranking officials. "There it is again," Olivia said, pointing to a screen where an energy spike appeared near Jupiter. "That's the 3rd time we've detected this pattern. It matches nothing from our database." Her second-in-command, Major Paul Harris, leaned closer. "It's similar to the theoretical patterns we developed based on a crashed ship from the Arizona incident." Olivia nodded. That crash had happened 30 years ago. The government had covered it up, but the technology recovered had jump-started humanity's secret space program. She had a hunch these energy signatures were connected to Lucas's disappearance. "I want our deep space probe to change course and investigate," she ordered. 2 weeks later, the probe sent back data that confirmed Olivia's suspicions. The energy pattern matched a warp signature, evidence of advanced alien technology. More importantly, the probe had captured brief images of a massive ship near the orbit of Saturn. Olivia called an emergency meeting with the Shadow Council, the group of military and civilian leaders who oversaw Earth's secret space defense. "The evidence is clear," she told them. "An alien species has entered our solar system and is abducting humans. My nephew is likely one of their victims." General Frank Ward looked skeptical. "We have 6 ships, Admiral. Experimental ships, against what could be an advanced alien empire. We also have the element of surprise," Olivia countered. "They don't know we have this technology. They think we're still sending basic rockets to the moon." After hours of debate, the Council approved a reconnaissance mission. The stealth vessel U.S. Artemis would investigate the alien presence without engaging. Captain Greg Peterson was chosen to command the mission. Greg had been with the program since its beginning. At 45, he had more experience in space than anyone else on Earth, though the public had no idea. He had piloted the first human ship to Mars in a secret mission 10 years earlier. "We leave in 48 hours, he told his crew. "This is what we've trained for." Meanwhile, in the vastness of space, Lucas was adapting to his new reality. The aliens had transferred him to a larger research station orbiting a ringed planet in another star system. Here, Lucas learned they were called the Zephyr, part of a massive galactic confederation that ruled over thousands of worlds. Lucas was kept in a habitat designed to resemble Earth conditions. Other humans were there too, though none as young as him. The aliens studied them all, particularly interested in human adaptability and intelligence. "They don't think much of us," whispered Diane, an older woman who had been taken 3 years earlier. "They call Earth a Class 3 primitive world. That means they think we're smart animals, not equals." Lucas spent his days carefully observing everything. He memorized the faces and roles of different Zephyr. He learned bits of their language by listening. He noticed patterns in their security systems. One day, a new alien entered the habitat. This one wore elaborate clothing with symbols Lucas hadn't seen before. The other Zephyr treated it with great respect. "This is Science Director Krulvor," the translator device announced. "The specimen will be tested." Krulvor had Lucas brought to a special room filled with strange equipment. There, they showed him puzzles and problems to solve. Lucas pretended to struggle with the simple ones while easily solving the harder ones. He didn't want them to know just how quickly he was learning. "Remarkable," Krulvor said through the translator. "This juvenile human shows potential beyond our classification parameters. We must transfer it to the central research facility on the homeworld for further study." Back on Earth, The U.S. Artemis prepared for launch from a hidden base beneath the Pacific Ocean. Captain Peterson reviewed the mission details with his crew of 20 elite specialists. Lieutenant Sam Rivera checked his combat gear one last time. As head of security, he would lead any rescue operations they might attempt. "Do you think we'll find the missing people?" he asked Greg. The captain's face was grim. "I hope so. But even if we don't, we need to know what we're up against. Humanity's future might depend on what we discover out there." The U.S. Artemis moved silently through the darkness of space. For 3 weeks, the crew had been following the faint trail left by the alien ships. They were now far beyond any region humans had ever visited. "Energy readings getting stronger, Captain," said Alice Webb, the ship's sensor specialist. Her fingers danced across the control panel as she adjusted the settings. "I think we're getting close." Captain Peterson nodded. "Keep us at stealth level 5. If these aliens are as advanced as we think, we can't risk being detected." The Artemis's engines made almost no noise as they pushed the ship forward. This vessel was humanity's greatest achievement, a spacecraft built using a combination of Earth technology and knowledge gained from the crashed alien ship. It could travel faster than light using a fold space drive, but right now it was moving slowly to avoid detection. "Contact," Alice suddenly announced. "Large structure ahead, approximately 500,000 kilometers." On the main screen, a massive space station appeared. It floated like a giant metal snowflake, with arms stretching out from a central hub. Lights flickered along its surface, and smaller ships moved around it like bees around a hive. "That's bigger than anything we've ever built," Lieutenant Rivera whispered. "And it's not their homeworld," Captain Peterson said grimly. "Just an outpost, according to our intel." The captain called a meeting in the ship's command center. The crew gathered around a holographic display showing the alien station. "Our mission is to verify if this is where they're keeping abducted humans, and, if possible, to gather intelligence," Peterson explained. "Lieutenant Rivera will lead a small team to infiltrate the station." Rivera selected 3 crew members for his team. Alice Webb for her technical skills, Dr. Nathan Cole for medical expertise, and Sergeant Ben Martinez for additional security. They prepared their gear while the Artemis approached the station carefully. Their stealth suits were designed to hide them from most forms of detection. "Remember, observation only," Captain Peterson reminded them. "We're not equipped for a rescue mission yet." The team entered a small shuttle that would take them to the station. As they approached, they saw an opening where alien ships were coming and going. "We'll slip in with that cargo transport," Rivera decided. The shuttle followed the larger ship into a docking bay. Once inside, they were amazed by what they saw. The bay was filled with creatures of all shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human, while others were completely alien. "They're not just taking people from Earth," Alice whispered. "They're collecting specimens from all over the galaxy." The team moved carefully through the station, using their translation devices to understand the alien language on signs and displays. They learned that this was a biological research center, where the Zeth-R studied life forms from many planets. In a central database, Alice found information about the humans who had been abducted. "There are records of at least 50 humans here," she said, "but many have been transferred to other facilities." "Does it say anything about a boy named Lucas Miller?" Rivera asked. Alice searched through the data. "Yes. He was here, but was transferred to the Zeth-R homeworld 6 weeks ago. They classified him as exceptional specimen with unique cognitive patterns." While the others gathered information, Dr. Cole discovered something disturbing. "These aliens don't see other species as equals," he reported. "They categorize worlds by development level and consider it their right to study any species they deem primitive." As they prepared to leave, an alarm suddenly blared throughout the station. "We've been detected," Rivera said. "Back to the shuttle. Now." They ran through the corridors, avoiding alien security forces. Just before reaching their shuttle, they were cornered by 3 Zeth-R guards. Rivera had no choice. He fired his stun weapon, and the aliens dropped to the floor, unconscious. "Take that one," he ordered, pointing to the smallest guard. "We need information." They carried the unconscious alien back to their shuttle and escaped as security forces closed in. The Artemis was waiting, its engines ready for immediate departure. Once safely away from the station, they secured their prisoner in the ship's medical bay. "We know where Lucas is now," Captain Peterson said to Admiral Mason through their secure communication channel. "But retrieving him won't be easy. He's on the Zephyr homeworld, at the heart of their empire." Olivia's face on the screen was determined. "Then that's where we're going next. Prepare your ship, Captain. This is no longer just a reconnaissance mission." As they talked, Dr. Cole worked to communicate with their captive Zephyr. The alien was frightened, but eventually revealed its name. Krelvor, a junior scientist at the research station. "The human child," Krelvor said through the translator. "The one you seek. The Confederation has never seen anything like him." On the Zephyr homeworld, Lucas sat cross-legged on the floor of his habitat. After months in captivity, he had learned to hide his true abilities from his captors. They thought he was just a clever child. They didn't know he understood most of their language now, or that he could access their computer systems. The Zephyr world was amazing and terrifying at once. From the window in his room, Lucas could see a city that stretched beyond the horizon. Flying vehicles moved in perfect lines between tall buildings that shimmered in strange colors. 3 moons hung in the purple sky, making it never truly dark. "Lucas," a small voice called from the vent near his bed. "Are you awake?" Lucas smiled as a tiny face appeared in the vent opening. It belonged to Trill, a child from a planet called Neriva that had been conquered by the Zephyr long ago. Trill's skin was pale green, and she had 4 eyes that blinked in pairs. She was clever and brave, and she had become Lucas's only friend. "I'm awake," Lucas whispered. "Did you bring it?" Trill pushed a small metal disc through the vent. "I took it from the lab like you asked. What are you going to do with it?" Lucas took the disc and hid it under his mattress. "It's the final piece I need. Tonight, I'm going to send a message home." For weeks, Lucas had been secretly building a communication device using parts stolen from the labs. The Zephyr had no idea that humans could be so resourceful. They treated all lesser species as simple creatures with limited intelligence. "They're moving you tomorrow," Trill warned. "I heard the scientists talking. They want to do more brain tests." Lucas nodded. "Then we need to act tonight. Can you create a distraction in Section 4? Just like we practiced." Trill nodded and disappeared back into the vent. Lucas waited until the night cycle began, when most Zephyr were resting. Then he pulled out his hidden device and the pieces he had collected. With quick, careful movements, he assembled them. The finished device looked like a jumble of alien technology, but Lucas knew exactly how it worked. He had watched the Zephyr engineers and memorized their methods. The device would send a signal on a specific frequency, one that Earth's secret space program would be looking for. An alarm blared suddenly from Section 4. Trill had started the distraction. Lucas could hear guards running down the corridor outside his room. He quickly attached the metal disc to his device and pressed the activation sequence. The device hummed softly. On a small screen, alien symbols flashed, showing that the signal was transmitting. Lucas sent a simple message, his name, his location, and a warning about the Zephyr fleet. Just as he finished, the door to his room slid open. A tall Zephyr scientist stood there, 4 arms crossed in anger. "What are you doing, human child?" it demanded. Lucas quickly hid the device behind his back. "Nothing. The alarm scared me." The scientist stepped closer, suspicious. "Your brain waves show heightened activity. You are hiding something." Before the scientist could search him, another alarm sounded. This one was different, a high-pitched wail that made the scientist's head tentacles twitch in surprise. "Security breach in Level 5, announced a voice over the speaker system. Trill had done more than they planned. The scientist hurried away, forgetting about Lucas for the moment. Lucas used this chance to hide his communication device in a vent where no one would find it. His message was already sent. Now he just had to wait and survive. Millions of miles away, the U.S. Artemis was approaching the Zephyr system carefully. Captain Peterson and his crew had learned much from their prisoner, Krelvor. The junior scientist had revealed the layout of the Zephyr homeworld and the location of the central research facility. Their defenses are incredibly advanced, Lieutenant Rivera said during the mission briefing. They have detection systems around their entire star system. Captain Peterson nodded grimly. Which is why we'll use the Fold space drive to jump directly to the planet's orbit. We'll only have minutes before they detect us. The captured scientist, Krelvor, watched the humans with growing confusion. Why risk so much for one child? He asked through the translator. Alice Webb answered him. Because that's what humans do. We never abandon our own. Suddenly, the ship's communication system activated. A signal was coming through on an emergency frequency. Captain, called the communications officer. We're receiving a message. It's in English, hidden inside a Zephyr transmission pattern. Everyone fell silent as the message played. Lucas's voice, calm and clear, filled the command center. This is Lucas Miller. I'm at the Central Research Facility on the Zephyr homeworld. They're planning to transfer me for brain experiments. Their defense system has a weakness. It can't detect ships during the daily reset at what would be Earth midnight GMT. They have a fleet of 200 ships ready to expand their territory. Please hurry. Captain Peterson looked amazed. That kid figured out their systems and built a transmitter from inside their facility. Krelvor's translator couldn't capture his shocked expression, but his words came through clearly. Impossible. No primitive species could understand our technology so quickly. Alice smiled. I think the Zephyr are about to learn they abducted the wrong child from the wrong planet. Admiral Olivia Mason stood before the emergency meeting of Earth's Shadow Council. The large screen behind her showed images of the Zephyr homeworld captured by the U.S. Artemis's long-range sensors. We now have confirmation that my nephew and other humans are being held by this alien civilization, she said. Captain Peterson's mission has given us critical intelligence about their capabilities and weaknesses. General Ward frowned. And you propose we go to war with them? With our 6 ships against their empire. I propose we try diplomacy first, Olivia replied calmly. But from a position of strength, not weakness. After hours of debate, the council approved Olivia's plan. The U.S. Artemis would remain hidden near the Zephyr homeworld, while a second ship, the U.S. Orion, would carry Admiral Mason to a diplomatic meeting. 3 days later, the U.S. Orion appeared at the edge of the Zephyr system. It made no attempt to hide. Instead, it broadcast a message on all frequencies in the Zephyr language. Attention, Galactic Confederation. We are representatives of Earth. We request a diplomatic meeting regarding your abduction of our citizens. We come in peace but demand to be heard. The response was immediate. A fleet of 20 Zephyr warships surrounded the Orion, their weapons ready to fire. Your presence is a violation of Confederation law, came the reply. Primitive worlds are not permitted interstellar travel. Admiral Mason stood on the bridge of the Orion, wearing her full dress uniform. We are no longer a primitive world, she said firmly, and we wish to speak with your leaders. After tense negotiations, the Zephyr agreed to a meeting. They directed the Orion to dock at a space station orbiting their homeworld. The meeting took place in a grand hall designed to intimidate visitors. High Chancellor Vextor sat on an elevated platform, surrounded by other Zephyr officials. Admiral Mason and her small team were made to stand below them. Your presence here is unprecedented, Vextor began. His voice was translated by devices in the room. No Class 3 world has ever developed space travel without our guidance. We developed it ourselves, Olivia replied, and we have come to demand the return of all humans taken from Earth for your experiments. Vextor's head tentacles twitched in what might have been amusement. You are in no position to make demands. Your single ship is impressive for primitives, but we could destroy it with a thought. Olivia remained calm. We know you have been taking humans for years. We have evidence of your research stations and the cruel experiments performed there. She projected images taken from the Artemis's mission onto the large screen in the hall. Pictures of humans in containment, being studied and tested. These are our people, she said, and we want them back. Vextor leaned forward. The Confederation has the right to study all life forms within our territory. Your solar system falls within our borders, even if you were unaware of that fact. Earth recognizes no such claim, Olivia countered. We consider these abductions acts of aggression against a sovereign planet. The Zethar officials conferred among themselves, making clicking sounds their translators didn't convert. Finally, Vextor addressed Olivia again. You have advanced faster than expected, but you are still centuries behind our technology. Return to your planet and be grateful we allow you to continue your existence. The specimens we have collected will remain for study. Olivia's face hardened. Is that your final answer? It is, Vextor replied. And to ensure you understand your place, we will send a small fleet to your world to establish a permanent observation post. Your limited space capabilities will be restricted. Olivia nodded slowly. I understand perfectly. Thank you for your time, Chancellor. As she turned to leave, Vextor called after her. The child you seek, the one called Lucas. He has proven unusually adaptable. He will receive special treatment in our Advanced Research Division. Olivia stopped but didn't turn around. Her voice was steady when she spoke. You should know one thing about humans, Chancellor. We protect our children. All of them. Remember that in the days to come. Back on the U.S. Orion, Olivia immediately contacted Captain Peterson on the hidden Artemis. Diplomacy has failed, she reported. They refuse to return our people and now plan to restrict Earth's development. Implement Operation Thunderbolt immediately. What the Zethar didn't know was that while Olivia kept them distracted with diplomacy, 3 more of Earth's advanced ships had secretly entered their system using the weakness Lucas had discovered. The U.S. Artemis was already moving into position near the central research facility where Lucas was held. Lieutenant Rivera and his team prepared for a rescue mission unlike any in human history. They think we're just primitive beings who shouldn't be in space, Olivia told her crew. It's time to show them how wrong they are. The U.S. Artemis hovered silently above the Zethar Central Research Facility. The massive building stretched across the landscape like a giant metal spider, its legs containing different research divisions. At its center stood a tall tower where the most important projects were housed. That's where they're keeping Lucas, Lieutenant Rivera said, studying the holographic map. Level 63, High Security Section. Captain Peterson nodded. The defense systems will reset in precisely 14 minutes. That's our window to get in undetected. The rescue team was ready. Lieutenant Rivera would lead the main group, including Alice Webb and Sergeant Martinez. They wore advanced stealth suits that could partially bend light around them, making them harder to see. Each carried stun weapons designed not to kill. Remember, Peterson told them, this is a rescue mission. We get Lucas and any other humans we find. Then get out. Avoid confrontation when possible. Rivera nodded. And the diversion? Already in place, Peterson confirmed. The U.S. Hyperion will create a distraction on the other side of the city, drawing their security forces away from the facility. As the defense system reset approached, the team boarded a small shuttle. It dropped silently from the Artemis, its engines making almost no sound as it descended toward the research facility. Defense reset in 3, 2, 1. Alice counted down. At that moment, all the lights on the facility briefly flickered. The shuttle landed on the roof as the lights came back on. Security systems were still rebooting, giving the team exactly 2 minutes to enter the building undetected. Rivera led the way, cutting through a service door with a laser tool. They moved quickly through maintenance tunnels, following the path memorized from the facility schematics provided by their captive scientist. On the other side of the city, the U.S. Hyperion suddenly appeared in the sky. It fired bright energy pulses into the air above the Zephyr government district. The pulses did no damage but created spectacular light displays impossible to ignore. Alarms blared throughout the city. Security forces rushed toward the disturbance, just as planned. Inside the research facility, Rivera's team reached level 63. 2 guards stood outside the high-security section. Alice activated a device that emitted a high-pitched sound only Zephyr could hear. The guards clutched their head tentacles in pain, giving Rivera and Martinez the chance to stun them. "We're in," Rivera reported through his secure communicator, proceeding to target location. They moved through the secure area, passing rooms where various alien species were kept in habitats. Alice checked the control panel at each door, looking for human life signs. "Here," she finally said, stopping at a door marked with Zephyr symbols. "Human biosignature detected." Martinez overrode the lock, and the door slid open. Inside, Lucas sat calmly on his bed, as if he had been expecting them. "You're late," he said with a smile. "I've been ready for hours." Rivera looked surprised. "How did you know we were coming?" "I've been monitoring their communication systems," Lucas explained. "When your ships entered the system, I knew a rescue was coming. We need to hurry. They've already noticed something's wrong with the guards." As Lucas spoke, alarms began to sound in the facility. He quickly moved to the door. "This way. We need to free the others first." "Others?" Martins asked. "The other humans, and Trill," Lucas said. "I promised I wouldn't leave without her." Lucas led them through the corridors with confidence, clearly familiar with the layout. They reached another secured area where 5 more humans were kept. Among them was a small green-skinned alien child with 4 eyes. "Trill," Lucas called. The child ran to him, and they hugged briefly. "The systems are in chaos," Trill said. "I did what you asked. Their security network is showing false alarms all over the city." Lucas nodded. "Good. That should buy us more time." Rivera looked at the boy with newfound respect. "You've been planning this." "Since the day they took me," Lucas replied. "I just needed help with the last part, getting off the planet." Suddenly, the main doors to the section slid open. A group of Zephyr security forces rushed in, weapons raised. "Halt," the leader commanded. "Return the specimens to containment immediately." Rivera and Martinez stepped forward, putting themselves between the aliens and the rescued captives. They'd raised their stun weapons, ready to fight. But Lucas calmly walked between them. He held up a small device he had been hiding in his pocket. "Tell your guards to lower their weapons," he said to the Zephyr leader in their own language, "or I will activate this." The leader's head tentacles twitched in surprise. "You speak our language. What is that device?" "It's connected to your central computer system," Lucas explained. "One push, and your research data for the past 50 years will be erased. Permanently." The Zephyr hesitated, uncertain if the human child was bluffing. "He's not lying," Trill added. "We've been accessing your systems for months. You never thought to guard against species you considered primitive." More alarms blared, and a voice announced over the facility's speakers, "Attention all security forces. Unknown human vessels attacking defense platforms in orbit. This is not a drill." Rivera smiled. "That would be the rest of our fleet. Now, are you going to let us leave, or is this going to get messy?" Admiral Olivia Mason watched from the bridge of the U.S. Orion as Earth's small fleet engaged the much larger Zephyr forces. On the main screen, bright flashes of energy lit up the darkness of space as ships exchanged fire. "Status report," she commanded. Her tactical officer responded quickly. "The U.S. Phoenix and Valiant are targeting their defense platforms as planned. Their shields are holding. The Hyperion continues the ground diversion. The Artemis reports they have located Lucas and other captives and are proceeding to extraction. Olivia allowed herself a small smile. The plan was working. Earth's ships were faster and more maneuverable than the Zephyr vessels, despite being less heavily armed. They darted between the larger alien ships, firing precisely at weak points Lucas had identified in his transmissions. "Ma'am," her communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Zephyr High Command. Chancellor Vextor is demanding to speak with you." "Put him through," Olivia ordered. Vextor's image appeared on the screen. His head tentacles were writhing in what appeared to be rage. "What is the meaning of this attack?" he demanded. "You claim to be peaceful, yet you assault our defenses." Olivia stood tall. "We came in peace. You chose war when you refused to return our people and threatened our planet. Now you see what happens when humanity is pushed too far. This is madness. Your primitive ships cannot hope to defeat the might of the Confederation." "Look again, Chancellor," Olivia replied calmly. "Your defense platforms are falling one by one. We've studied your technology, found its weaknesses. This is just the beginning." On the Zephyr homeworld, Lieutenant Rivera's team was in a standoff with the security forces. Lucas still held his device, threatening to erase the aliens' precious research data. "You're bluffing," the Zephyr commander said, though his uncertain tone revealed his doubt. Lucas shook his head. "Try me. Your species took me from my home, treated me like an animal to be studied. Why would I show mercy to your life's work?" A junior officer whispered something to the commander, who then lowered his weapon slightly. "Our orbital defenses are falling. Human ships are attacking across the system. Let us leave," Rivera demanded, "or this will only get worse." After a tense moment, the commander stepped aside. "Go, take the specimens. But this isn't over." Lucas looked directly at the commander. "You're right. It's not over. It's just beginning. The age when you could abduct beings from primitive worlds with no consequences is ending today." The team moved quickly through the facility toward the roof where their shuttle waited. Along the way, they'd freed more captives, not just humans, but beings from dozens of worlds who had been taken for study. When they reached the roof, they found Captain Peterson himself waiting in a larger shuttle. "Change of plans," he explained. "We're taking everyone we can. The other ships are doing the same at different facilities across the planet." As the expanded group of rescued captives boarded the shuttle, Lucas paused to look back at the city. Lights flashed everywhere as alarms continued to blare. In the distance, he could see confusion spreading as more and more aliens learned their perfect system was under attack. "What did you do with that device?" Rivera asked Lucas as the shuttle lifted off. "It wasn't just a threat," Lucas replied. "While we were talking, it was transmitting a virus into their network. Not to erase their data, but to make it public to every world in the Confederation. Everyone will know what they've been doing, the experiments, the abductions. Their own people will question them now." In orbit, the battle was intensifying. The Zephyr had rallied their main fleet, and despite Earth's tactical advantages, the sheer number of enemy ships was becoming overwhelming. "All vessels, execute Phase 2, Admiral Mason ordered." Across the system, Earth's 6 ships simultaneously activated a special device, technology based on Lucas's insights into the Zephyr systems. Each ship emitted a pulse that traveled at light speed through the enemy fleet. As the pulse hit each Zephyr ship, their systems faltered. Engines shut down, weapons went offline, communications failed. The mighty fleet drifted helplessly in space. "What have you done?" Vextor demanded, his image flickering on the screen. "We used your own technology against you," Olivia explained. "Your ships rely on a centralized quantum communication system. We just introduced a conflicting signal pattern. They'll be disabled for approximately 6 hours, enough time for us to complete our mission." "This is impossible. No primitive species could understand our quantum technology so thoroughly." Olivia's eyes narrowed. "You should have thought of that before you abducted my nephew. You took the wrong child from the wrong planet, Chancellor. And now the entire Confederation will know that humanity is not to be trifled with. 1 week later, Admiral Olivia Mason stood in the Grand Hall of the Galactic Confederation Council. This time, she did not stand below the alien leaders, but at their level, on a raised platform installed specifically for the Earth delegation. Representatives from hundreds of worlds filled the massive chamber. Many had never seen a human before. They watched with interest as Olivia addressed the council. "Members of the Galactic Confederation," she began. "1 week ago, we demonstrated that humanity will not be classified as primitive or treated as test subjects. Today we come to establish a new relationship, one based on mutual respect." High Chancellor Vextor sat stiffly in his chair. The defeat of his fleet had weakened his position considerably. Reports of unethical experiments had spread throughout the Confederation, causing outrage even among his own people. "The human delegation presents unreasonable demands," Vextor said. "They ask for recognition as equals despite their limited development." A representative from another species, one with 4 arms and crystalline skin, stood up. "The humans disabled your entire fleet with 6 ships, Chancellor. I think that qualifies them as developed." Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. The balance of power was shifting. Lucas sat beside his aunt in the Earth delegation. He wore a simple blue suit that made him look older than his 11 years. Next to him was Trill, officially representing the remaining survivors of her nearly extinct species. Olivia presented the terms Earth had prepared. First, all captive beings from all worlds will be returned to their homes immediately. Second, the practice of abducting intelligent life for study will end. Third, Earth will be recognized as a sovereign power with all rights of a full Confederation member. "And if we refuse?" Vextor challenged. Captain Peterson, standing at attention behind Olivia, stepped forward. "Then we release the complete schematics of your quantum communication vulnerability to every world in the galaxy. Your military advantage would be gone forever." The council chamber erupted in noise as representatives argued among themselves. After hours of debate, the vote was taken. Earth's terms were accepted by a narrow margin. As the session ended, Lucas approached Vextor. The tall alien looked down at the human child with a mixture of anger and reluctant respect. "You did all this," Vextor said quietly. "A child from a world we thought primitive." Lucas nodded. "That was your mistake. You judged us by our technology, not by our potential. Humans adapt. We learn. We protect our own." "What happens now?" Vextor asked. "Now we build something better," Lucas replied. "My aunt says Earth doesn't want war or revenge. We want to join the galaxy as equals and help create a fairer system for everyone." Back on Earth, Jack and Susan Miller waited anxiously at the hidden spaceport. When the shuttle landed and Lucas walked down the ramp, they ran to him with tears streaming down their faces. "Mom, Dad," Lucas called out, running into their arms. As they hugged their son, they noticed the small green alien child standing nervously at the bottom of the ramp. "Who's this?" Susan asked gently. "This is Trill," Lucas explained. "Her world is gone. I promised she could stay with us." Jack knelt down to Trill's level. "Any friend of Lucas is welcome in our home." In the months that followed, Earth began sharing its existence among the stars with its own people. The news that humans were not alone in the universe, and that Earth now had a place in a galactic civilization, changed everything. Lucas became a symbol of humanity's potential. Schools around the world studied how one boy's extraordinary mind had helped Earth leap forward centuries in development. But to his parents, he was simply their son who had come home. Admiral Mason oversaw the expansion of Earth's space fleet and the establishment of diplomatic relations with other worlds. Captain Peterson and his crew became the first of many human explorers venturing into the galaxy.